I want you to think about your favorite audiobook. What is it that you absolutely love about your favorite audiobook? How the narrator can make their voice crack right when a character is crying. Maybe the automatopoeia that turns a word into something that you can see and hear and feel. What I love about a good audiobook is that a narrator can really bring a scene to life. A really good narrator can make you feel like you're truly listening to the character's voice. In fact, when I have a favorite book and I want to read it again, but I want to read it again for the first time, I will go back and I will do it with an audiobook. A different narration can give a different voice or just kind of change the book just enough that it's almost like a new story. But now I want you to go back and imagine that same audiobook. Instead of your favorite narrator, it's now narrated with AI voice.
Would you want me to narrate your book? I can change voices and accents.
What do you think about that? This is what audiobook companies and publishers are experimenting with. And honestly, I find it a little bit unsettling. Now, I do think that there is a time and a place for AI narration. AI narration is cheap and it's fast. And honestly, there's plenty of books that will never have a narration. We've got niche books or books that are out of print. These are going to be hard to find in any kind of narration. While there are people who do read books and volunteer to make audiobooks, not every book out there is going to be created. So for accessibility, I think that this is an incredibly wonderful thing. I think this already happened before with Kindle, with ebooks in general. I remember when they first came out, you could find books that were out of print or that had died in secondhand bookstores. You could get copies of them in ebook. I remember going on to Amazon and finding a title and having the option to click on request this as a Kindle copy. And then it actually happened. I would get this book. I would search for the book later, find it in ebook format on the Amazon site. It was cheap. I could buy it. I could read it on my Kindle. The difference between ebooks and AI read audiobooks is we are taking away a layer of the humanity. Even though people will argue about which is better, ebook or print, you're still reading the words. It's still the author's words. It's still all human content. When AI takes over reading, we're losing that human element of just the emotion and the experience behind that. I guess it's a little bit soulless. There's this concept called the Uncanny Valley, and that is when something is almost human, but not quite. It's unsettling, and the reason it's unsettling is because it's not quite human. AI voices live in that uncanny valley. It's that almost that makes us unhappy. It's missing that little bit of soul, that little bit of emotion. The words are clear, the recording is perfect, but there's just something not human about it. We are looking for some sort of connection, some sort of human connection. We all like to be told stories, but we want to be told stories by humans. Part of it is even just knowing that it's AI. There was another study that was done recently. Famous authors wrote some short stories. Also, AI wrote some short stories. People were given these stories and asked to identify which ones were created by AI and which ones were created by humans. The wild thing is, they got it wrong most of the time. People couldn't tell which ones were AI written and which ones were human written. And to make it even worse, they preferred the AI stories. But at the same time, we don't want AI stories. We like those stories better. Why is that? I think it's because when we read, we're reading to make a connection. We want to know that there is life behind the words. We want to know that there was experience there, that the story was born from something human. If we connect with AI, what is it that we're actually connecting to? So I think it's more than just the product itself. AI can mimic us, and it can mimic us in a short story. I'm not sure if it can mimic us in a full-length novel, but probably. Our desire that reading and storytelling remain a human endeavor. I think ultimately when we're talking about AI, this is the problem overall. There was a study written recently where people were talking about how students are using AI to have shortcuts in their classes. And we all did that, right? You know, whether it was Spark Notes or Cliff Notes or whatever it was, we all did that. The teachers would go to all the trouble to try to write tests that couldn't be answered with Spark Notes or Cliff's Notes. And they started doing these things where you're comparing two different works of literature or two different characters, and you have to have examples. The thing is now AI can do that. You can plug in the stories or even ask it, because it can go so deep into the analysis that it can take all the thinking away. And I think the idea of that is what scares us. We're afraid the few things that make us human that AI can't take away, it's starting to take away. Ultimately, AI is here to stay. We always worry when there's a new technology that takes over. What it always comes down to is that we need to learn how to teach people how to use this technology, how to use it to add to our thoughts, to make us think deeper, not to take away our thought and create shortcuts for us. We're afraid of AI replacing us in some significant way. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know that it ever could happen, but I don't know that it couldn't. I think AI is a wonderful tool. And I think that what we're learning from the idea of AI replacing the reading aspect or writing aspect is that it's just the idea of AI being able to duplicate something so human and yet be completely unhuman. I think that's unsettling to us. And I don't know. I use AI a lot. I mean, after I read a book, sometimes I don't have anybody to talk to about a book. So I'll put questions to AI and just kind of have like a chat session with Chat GPT and talk about a book. And it's amazing because it can really bring up ideas that I hadn't thought about, make me think in new ways. But I think when we're using it to replace that aspect is when people start to worry about it. I don't know. Ultimately, what do you think? Would you like an audiobook that was written by AI, or, well, written and read by AI? How about both? What do you think about it? Would you buy or listen to an audiobook that was narrated by AI? Why or why not? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm so curious to see what people are thinking about this, because I've been reading the articles, but I haven't had real human conversations about it. So let's start that up in the comments. Thanks for watching today.